Hey guys, it's Mike and Melissa back with another episode. I am covering some mortgage topics, and Melissa's on the real estate side. I'm with the MPH team at Bank of England Mortgage, and
I'm with Remax Eclipse in Troy.
so Melissa and I have over the past couple years, obviously been working together. But our primary focus and where we feel the most comfortable and do the best job for our clients are on VA loans. We're both veteran advocates. Melissa's father is former military. I have family members who are former military as well, as along with some very close friends. So this is going to be some informational or educational info for you guys as home buyers, but also as realtors, to talk about some of the challenges that we come up with both on the mortgage and real estate side. So on the mortgage side, really there's pretty much, if we would look into the 8 most beneficial things of a VA loan, number one, there's no down payment on these loans. There is no private mortgage insurance on these loans. Just like a FHA or a conventional, if you finance less than 20%, you would have PMI. VA, you can finance up to 100% with no mortgage insurance.
How much is PMI usually?
So PMI, roughly, and it's going to vary on credit score, but usually you can say 1% of the loan amount, take that amount divided by 12. So I mean, on a $100,000 loan, if you're looking at average credit like 640, you'd be, somewhere in the $100 range. But again, every PMI provider has, different pricing and things like that. On FHA, it's 0.8% of the loan amount. It's standard. Where on conventional can be lower with a higher credit score.
Which substantially changes their monthly payment.
Correct, right? Like you have, and there's certain scenarios where if you have a 620 credit score, you'll get approved through us as a lender. However, maybe the mortgage insurance company won't back if you're trying to finance 95% or something like that, where with VA, we don't run into any of these issues. And just to back up a little bit, not only are these our favorite loans to get done, they're the easiest loans to get done for us as lenders, if you understand it, and for realtors who understand VA like Melissa, the process is much quicker than getting most loans done. The rates on VA are extremely competitive. They will blow conventional rates out of the water every time. There's no prepayment penalty. And one of the coolest things is, we get asked a lot by veterans, well, we heard that there's this VA funding fee, and that's true. There's different scenarios. There's a first-time use, there's a subsequent use, and they're all different percentages based on how much you're putting down if you decide to put something down. Now, if you're 10% or more disabled, then you do not have a VA funding fee, which I think most, whether it's, there's different kinds of disability, but usually I see at least 10%, so that clears out that funding fee. Another misconception, which is actually a benefit, is that people think you can only use the VA loan on one home, where you can actually use it on another home. However, your entitlement will be less. So we'll do a whole nother video on checking the eligibility, how much entitlement is left over if you wanted to buy another house. That's for another time. VA loans are assumable. So if you have, let's say you have a non-veteran wanting to assume the mortgage, of course they would have to qualify credit and income-wise to assume the loan. They don't have to be a veteran. But to protect the veteran, we want to make sure that they get the release form that, for example, if whoever assumed the loan defaults, that veteran is not responsible for that, and they get that from their lender. So it's very important that your real estate agent and your lender both understand VA inside and out, and this gives you the best chance of getting to the closing table the quickest. And then also when the lender and real estate agent, if Melissa were the buyer's agent, for example, we have, because of our knowledge of VA, we're able to go in there and explain to a listing agent, for example, why VA is actually beneficial when sometimes they freak out. And the last thing really is that there's a foreclosure avoidance program that comes with VA. So the VA's got staff members in there. If God forbid you run into a situation where foreclosure is in your near future, there are people that are VA employees that will come and give you alternative options. So those are really from the mortgage side what the benefits are. But I want to ask you, Melissa, because we run into challenges when we're putting in these VA offers, what info can you give to whether it be buyers or listing agents? What kind of advice could you give them?
Okay, so one of the biggest things that I guess really hurts us when we are submitting offers is that the FHA-VA addendum is squashed together. So a lot of people think that they're one and the same, and that a veteran doesn't have the funds and potentially has a lower credit score, which isn't the case at all by any means. It's just they've served, so the benefit is 0%. Let's go buy a house, right? But the addendum has VA and FHA all within there. A lot of listing agents and a lot of sellers don't understand VA. So when we're in like spring, summer, we're running into multiple offers, highest and best. I've seen sellers actually take lower offers because their agent wasn't informed and didn't educate them, and they think it's this like very complicated process, and it's not. I guess like what I already know that we're gonna run into is if we're looking at a house and the roof is shot or there's rotted wood, exposed wiring, things like that, it's gonna come up in the inspection process, which usually are deal breakers, or they're gonna be remedied prior to even ordering the appraisal. So, if you can ask your agent or anybody else to go over the document, we can even post it and share it so you can have an understanding of what we're talking about. But it says in there, like, how much will you pay towards the repairs? That freaks sellers out because they're thinking, oh, well, there goes some of my proceeds, but it's not the case at all. So we remedy that prior to even getting to appraisal, and let's be honest, our veterans are used to working on helicopters. They're out there doing things that where a little rotted wood or maybe some missing shingles isn't going to freak them out away from a house, and we can certainly come to an agreement to remedy that so we can put the deal together and get to the closing table.
I think what she's getting at is that most veterans are more handy than your average citizen. So
Yeah.
no, I agree with you completely. I really want to dive in. Oh, go ahead. I'm
The
sorry.
pest inspection.
Yes.
That is one major requirement. There's no getting around that. I always tell my clients, because you're already getting 0% down, and you don't have like a brokerage fee. What else? I mean, and no PMI.
Correct.
So they're saving a ton of money already. Pay for the pest inspection. You could find companies that'll do it for like $125. Some of them will charge more. Shop around, get the best deal, and if it's only $125 coming out of your pocket, I just always have the veteran pay for it themselves, and that way the seller's not freaking out about one more fee.
Fair enough.
Coming out of their proceeds.
Fair enough. And another good thing, I mean, for the actual veteran is that VA will allow up to 4% seller concession. Doesn't mean they have to use the whole thing. But again, just going back to the biggest challenges, like you've said, I've seen offers not go through, higher offers, because it was VA. But I think going back to what I said earlier, when you have an agent and a lender that both understand VA in and out, I mean, you know me, so it's different. Majority of my career was spent doing VA loans. So and again, maybe I think it's the easiest loan, maybe because I understand it the best. But on every single offer, I'm going out to talk to the listing agent, or at least explaining why our buyer might be more qualified than other offers that are out there. And then when I can get the listing agent on the phone or sit down and meet with them and explain to them the benefits of VA, why this is going to be a much more expedited process if we've done the TBD already, then the listing agents get it, and I get the same response every time was, wow, I've never had a lender or a realtor explain this to me all up front.
Yeah.
And I think that's why me and you have, the combination has given us the ability to win more VA offers right now. Like we have one going right now where he's gonna have some negotiation room, because he did get us all our docs on time, and that's
Yes.
another thing, about veterans, and definitely salute to you guys, because, maybe you guys make the process so much easier, because you guys get everything to us in such a timely manner, so thank you guys for that. But when I approach a listing agent, or Melissa approaches the listing agent rather, you know, if in a multiple offer situation, she's gonna explain, yes, this is VA, however, the loan's already been completely underwritten, so at this point, all we need is appraisal and title, and we can close in, 10 to 14 days, rather than, some loan officer that just kind of typed up a pre-approvals, throwing stuff to the wall and hoping it sticks, where Melissa and I's philosophy is, we're gonna do our homework up front, because if I stamp something with a pre-approval and she's gonna put her name on the contract, I need to make sure that it's guaranteed from my end, and I don't have to call her and the client and the seller back in 2 weeks and say, oops, I didn't get enough information up front, and now we have this mistake. So, yeah, I mean, with the VA, I think probably they go so much faster, because when we do these to be determined property addresses and do it beforehand, they're getting us everything that we need, so quickly. So, any other misconceptions or stuff that you run into when you're putting these offers in?
Just really the biggest thing is that FHA, VA, and the misconception that, they don't have the money or they don't have the credit. That's not the case at all. I mean, they did the ultimate sacrifice, they get a 0% down loan. They might have, quite the buffer in the bank.
Yeah.
But that's nobody's business.
Yeah.
So, it's not an FHA deal whatsoever. And I feel like every time I submit an offer and the listing agent doesn't understand, that's always the conversation. And I spend a whole day trying to convince them otherwise, and they don't want to deal with it.
They just don't get it.
They just
what
don't
you're
get
getting
it.
at,
Yeah. So it's always best to make sure that your agent's informed, and listing agents, inform yourself, on the VA process, because it's gonna benefit them.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I think the, even going back to, why it's critical for the lender to get involved, a listing agent may just think, okay, well, Melissa's just trying to make a sale.
Well-
Right? Oh, and I could be wrong, but when
Yeah.
I come in there and I say, here's the full approval, everything that Melissa just told you stands right here on paper, it's a little bit different, and it brings a different sort of strength to our offer, in my opinion.
Realistically, my job is just to find the house and the whole process with the house.
Yeah,
You handle the money part.
Mhm.
So if you don't do your job,
right,
you can kill the deal.
Absolutely.
So the client and I spent so much time looking for houses. We got the offer accepted, and if you fall short on doing what you're supposed to do, then you just wasted everybody's time.
absolutely.
So that's why it's even more important, like once we hand that accepted offer over.
No, you're
Yeah.
100% right, and I think more people should inform themselves on the way that VA works. Lenders and realtors, both of you guys, all of us, right? But I think Melissa and I have done so many of these that we've come up with a system internally, and however you work with your lender or your realtor, come up with a system to make sure that these, our veterans are not losing offers where, I think I checked in 2000, this is an older stat, I haven't checked recently, but 2015, the average credit score for veterans was a 763. So we know that credit is not an issue, but like you said, people think because they're going zero down that there's a credit issue or whatever it is, or they don't have money. The median income was, I don't know, 67,000 or something like that. So they have income, they have assets, they obviously have 2 years employment. We just don't run into a lot of stuff that we would run into, for example, let's say with a self-employed borrower. It's just less documentation that we have to get on the lending side, And I think when that's explained to the listing agent, who then goes and explains it to the seller, that's, I think, part of the reason we've been able to get more of our offers approved.
And the
For VA.
repairs.
Yeah.
The repairs are not that serious.
Right.
Like, again, it's going to be just like, you know, if it's a messed up roof, rotted wood, I mean, realistically, there's ways to get around that. It gets more in depth, but that's gonna come up in the inspection, so you're already gonna be fully aware. Usually when you're looking at the house, I mean, you're gonna see all of these issues with the house. You're gonna already know what's gonna be flagged, you know, during the appraisal process. And it's gonna come up in the inspection, so you're gonna decide even before submitting that offer, if it's a house that you even wanna deal with.
Yeah.
So, and typically, like, I've had so many clients who say, okay, well, if the seller will meet me halfway, you know, maybe provide the material, I'll come in and do the work myself.
Right.
Or, you know, that there's a number of ways to go about it, but 99% of my clients have literally, you know, come to an agreement with the seller where they actually physically went and did the work.
Yeah. No, and like we said earlier, that because like they are working on helicopters and things that we don't work on, something like rotted wood is a simple fix for them.
Yeah.
And builders too, so for those of you
yes.
builders who are not VA approved, Melissa's gotten a bunch of people approved, I've gotten a bunch of people approved. It's a couple forms, we can help you guys fill it out. I think it took me 48 hours for my last builder, so any builders who need VA approval, don't hesitate to call myself or Melissa or reach out to us. I don't know where you guys are watching this, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you are, just somehow shoot us a message. I'll put all of our contact info at the end of the video, and we can help you get approved. But again, this usually when we do videos, it's targeted to a specific audience. This is more of a broad audience of, I mean, it's definitely wrapped around veterans specifically, and again, thank you for your service, but this is to inform listing agents, sellers, buyers, builders, and anybody who's involving anything with veterans. The least that we could do is give them a little bit more attention for all of the stuff that they have done for us and sacrificed their lives, you know, instead of just kind of trying to shy away because you as the individual are not, and I'm talking listing agents and lenders, if you as the individual are not a pro in VA, contact a VA pro like Melissa or myself. We don't mind helping you out with your clients or whatever you need to do. And buyers, obviously, please contact us because this is our niche and this is where we want to keep our focus going forward. It's been a big part of my career. It's been a big part of Melissa's career. And we have no intention of getting away from anything VA related. We're both veteran advocates. So any final things, Melissa? I mean, I think really I just kind of wanted to touch on the benefits, some of the challenges that we're having, and hopefully anybody out there that has questions about VA loans, I don't care what side you're on, selling, buying, please reach out to us. And I'm gonna, again, like I said, I'll put our contact info in the description and at the end of the video. Anything else?
No, mine was pretty clear cut. It's just really, you know, educating yourself, and that's been the only issues that have ever really prevented us from moving forward.
Yeah.
And it's so minimal.
Yeah.
That's what is very frustrating,
Yeah.
you know, through the process. So it's very minimal and it's not that big of a deal, and you can come to an agreement to resolve it and move forward with the deal and get it closed.
Absolutely.
So,
All right, everybody. Well, again, I'm Mike Hajar with the MPH team at Bank of England Mortgage. We're licensed in all 50 states, so don't hesitate. Whether you're moving out of state or moving in state, we can help you with any relocation. And
I am licensed in Michigan.
Fair enough.
And primarily Tri-County areas.
Okay.
And, yeah, but I'll dabble outside to other counties if, you know, needed. So.
Okay. And again, your name?
Oh, Melissa Reyes with Remax Eclipse.
All right. So thank you guys again. Thanks everybody for watching. And thank you to all of our veterans.